More than 5,000 Alaskans serve in the Alaska Army and Air Force Guard and Reserve. That's quite a few, which means there are also quite a few employers that those service members have to coordinate with to ask for time off from work for training. This week's trip to Guam is what's known as a boss lift, where the branches of service familiarize employers with what their Guard and Reserve employees do, in order to build positive relationships and help them understand the importance of service.
It's really a chance to totally immerse those from the Anchorage and Fairbanks area in 3 days of military activities. So they've been in simulators, they've had a chance to see the scheduling and some of the work that's been done by Guard and Reserve people. We've talked about the importance of the Guard and Reserve to our national security. So this really has helped bolster the employer-supported Guard and Reserve program of having civilian employers support Guard and Reserve members as they serve our country.
The group in this boss lift includes representatives from employers from around the interior community, like Alyeska, Raven, Alaska, and Banner Health. Also participating are representatives for local government, like North Pole Mayor Bryce Ward.
Alaska does a great job of supporting the Guard and Reserve. I think the business leaders that were here have reinforced in their own mind that we are doing the right thing in Alaska to make sure our Guard and Reserve members are treated right. I think it's also the second message is that they've actually seen outside of Alaska how the Guard and Reserve works in another part of the Pacific Theater, and they've seen that what we do in Alaska is very, very valuable to our state and our country. So I'm very optimistic that the business leaders that came on this trip are going to go back with a greater appreciation of how they can support Guard and Reserve members in their civilian activities in the future.
Throughout the week, the group is visiting branches of service here on Guam to become familiar with their missions, which sometimes involves listening to briefings and sometimes is more hands-on. The group is taking part in simulators like small arms target practice, Humvee rollover drills, and a convoy simulator that showed participants their life expectancy in a real-world combat scenario might well be brief.
And all of them express the same interest, that they have Guard or Reserve members that work for them, and that has helped them immensely in understanding why it's so valuable to support their Guard and Reserve member when they're doing military service. Some of these scenarios, the simulators we worked in, really brought forward to these civilian business people how complicated and difficult it is for a military member to be a part-timer and to still be effective in the military. And therefore, for our country and our state to be strong, I think all of them express the same interest, that they want to make sure they provide what's necessary for their Guard and Reserve member to be successful.
The goal over the course of the week has been to build bridges between the Guard and Reserve and the civilian employers that make their service possible. Against one of the most picturesque backdrops possible, that mission appears to have been a success. I'm Tom Hewitt for News 13.